So thanks, folks, for coming to this session. I think we've got a lot to cover in a pretty short period of time, so and we are starting a little late, so I'll try and get my part done pretty quickly. And mostly what I'm here to say is that Microsoft has a very large commitment to accessibility going forward. If you haven't heard about this, about 18 months ago, we had some pretty major changes happen inside the company. We hired a VP of accessibility, and you're going to see we've really aligned our products around moving into what we think of as not just accessible, but exciting to use for people who need accessibility features, right? So there's WCAG, and I'm going to forget the other one, or WCAG and the other one. And there's audits, and you can hire auditors to come in and look at your software, and we've done that. And it's about as exciting as it sounds, right? So if you're responsible for anything around accessibility for your school, you can go and download those and say, yes, Word's accessible, Excel's accessible, and everyone goes, okay. But that's not what we're trying to do. And hopefully some of the things Matt's going to show you today will give you an idea of where Microsoft's heading around accessibility. But I am here to talk about sort of like the corporate structure and what's happening there and how much momentum is behind accessibility. I was going to start off with our mission statement, and I'm sorry I'm blocking this for some people, but our mission statement, as stated by our CEO, Satya Nadella, is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And this is a man who was born in India, came to the United States, and became the CEO of one of the largest companies on earth, and now has a daughter with accessibility needs, right? You can imagine how he's personally invested in this message. And I think some of the things I'm going to tell you today might help you see what the results of that investment are. He specifically makes statements at most of we get together for these big Microsoft meetups to align, the team around what Microsoft's trying to do every year. And for the last 2 years, I can tell you, I've personally heard him say something to the tune of building products that our customers love and that are accessible to everyone, built for each of us, right? So a lot of steerage coming from the very top of Microsoft down through the organization, realigning resources to make sure software is being created in an accessible fashion. This isn't to tell you what accessibility is. You probably have a good sense of what accessibility is. This is to show you that we know what accessibility is. It's really interesting. A lot of vendors get up and talk about accessibility, and they say, and here's our accessibility features, and it fits on a page. The accessibility features for one of our applications can't be described in a page. And for folks who are kind of taking photos of this, this presentation will definitely be available after this. There's actually some great clickable links in this presentation that hopefully you have the time to look at. Really want to draw your attention to this really interesting concept that's discussed pretty regularly inside of Microsoft. Yes, there are people with permanent disabilities who need accessibility capabilities and features, absolutely. But I think every single one of us at some point in our life has had a temporary impairment. It might be something as simple as a broken arm. The slide also implies cataracts, right? So right now, you don't need accessibility features in Word. You don't need accessibility features in Edge. But you might tomorrow. You just don't know what the future holds. And really have that discussion regularly around accessibility at Microsoft. And then we're kind of moving into a world where voice recognition, artificial intelligence, algorithms are getting better. So we start to see opportunities for accessibility capabilities for everyone, like when you're driving, right? And you can't use your hands and you really shouldn't be looking at a screen. So key pieces of information that you need right now, like where to turn or where's the next rest stop or how much further do I have to drive for gasoline, can also be the future of accessibility. This is one of these really exciting slides. It's here for you to look at later. This is a slide that describes how we realign the corporation to drive accessibility down through all of our products, right? So you see the diagram on the left. I'm not gonna call it what I think it's implying it should be. It's just a graphic. But accessibility really does sit at the center right now. And all of these other areas at Microsoft are tied back to accessibility. Every Microsoft account executive, anyone in support has all had to spend countless hours, frankly. I think I'm at about 35 hours of being brought through our accessibility capabilities, what's happening in the company, and the whole company is really aligning around this. So every aspect of Microsoft is on the move around the topic of accessibility. You know, in the past, we've had sort of these columns that we build our products around, right? So mobility has been huge, right? Laptops took over a while ago, then it moved to phones and tablets, and we're right there with our products. Security, Microsoft's doing a lot of stuff around security, trying to bake it into every product. Compliance, also very exciting. But again, Microsoft products are very compliant, right? And help you meet a lot of your regulatory requirements. But most recently, accessibility. And you all may not know this, but I worked at Cornell University for about 17 years before joining Microsoft a little over 2 years ago. And this is actually a space that universities are starting to find themselves in, right? The border between compliance and accessibility is fading. Accessibility is actually starting to become a compliance requirement. Or not having accessibility capabilities in your offering to students and faculty and staff are starting to leave you vulnerable to lawsuits from special interest groups for various, representing various groups of people with disabilities, right? So there's a lot happening there to think about, and we're joining you in thinking about it. I think it's safe to say inclusion really is at the heart of the new Microsoft. Maybe not under Steve Ballmer, if I can say that, but under Satya Nadella, Microsoft is really trying to collaborate more with other vendors, with our customers, and be a more open platform. When Satya Nadella says he wants to make great tools for everyone on Earth, he really means it. He means that the next Einstein might be in Nigeria. We just don't know where genius lays, and we're going after it, and we're investing everywhere, and we're trying to invest equally. And accessibility is very much part of that story. This is a great eye chart. Over here are capabilities like color contrast, right? It's ironic that I'm at an accessibility talk showing, and it really is an eye chart. But what it's showing you is that Office Pro Plus has all these capabilities. Office 365 has all these capabilities, and our newest offering, M365, drives even further down into accessibility capabilities. And you'll see all of these continue to grow. Again, it's just here for reference and to give you a sense of where we're headed. I actually have this video loaded, and I'm just gonna get it to play, and hopefully the audio will be loud enough. Oh, I don't hear audio. Should I steal the audio back for a second? All right, hold on. Let me get you the audio cable. Yeah. You got to hear this guy pour his orange juice. It's incredible. slides. I think the speaker was just turned down. Is that possible? This is our high-tech.
Oh, I hear you, I think.
Oh, we're live. There we go.
I'm Sakib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that, I went to a school for the blind, and that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives, and one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that will tell you at any moment what's going around.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence API, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Philips smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces. 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised. 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of people around me and what their relations are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the animal on my phone, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo,
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
and then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, malinis, pizzas, pastas.
Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do, but artificial intelligence is improving at a never faster rate. So I'm really excited to see where we can take things. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far off dream and building it step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
So I'm just turning my sound up. All right, so hand that guy back. Oops, okay, great. Just wanted to kind of share that video with you. It's linked out of the presentation, so you'll have that to share with anybody if you have any interest. Microsoft hasn't just hired one random blind man who happens to program. We're actually hiring neurodiversity across the company, folks with dyslexia, with autism, and a variety of other challenges, and really building a lot into our products based on their feedback, their participation, and in some cases explicitly their ability to code. So there's a lot happening there. There's a bunch of websites that you'll see linked on a series of slides. And I just want to mention that you can go there. There's a lot of stories, as well as information on features that are coming out in the near future. In particular, this slide, the URL will take you to a very detailed list of capabilities, present capabilities in the future. Want to mention really quickly, we have a video service where video stored on Azure will immediately, when played, give text, closed captioning, sorry, for the person speaking at that point in time. It'll also immediately go through and identify all the faces and voices in the video and allow you just to jump around and see just that person speak throughout the video. It's got a lot of really incredible capabilities. Again, it can do, as you saw in this video I just played for you, emotion recognition and things like that. This stuff's getting smarter all the time. Obviously, Office 365 and the Office tools have a lot of accessibility features in them. I think you're actually going to do some of them today, including the immersive reading capabilities. Again, some great resources for you. And I just want to highlight this. These features are actually coming from feedback. Yes, there are voices inside the company giving life to a lot of the early features we've seen released over the last 18 months, but we're constantly taking accessibility feedback. And Matt, I think you've actually given Microsoft feedback.
Yeah, yep, on a few occasions.
Fantastic. And that's it for my part.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
All right. So please give us a couple minutes to flip over. Give us minutes to flip over the audio. Actually, Word will be good.
Yes, not one good. Equal.
And then
Yes, not with. Stand off. Yes, not
low for some reason.
Okay.
exiting narrator.
Excellent. Problem solved.
I have my adapters here. All right. All right, we're gonna do this another way.
And B.
All right. And this is gonna go to the room.
It
Where
actually,
does this-
yeah, leave that audio plugged in and just do the VGA connector. Because we have to rely on these speakers. Super.
Title bar.
Okay.
Inbox. Documental.
Can you see my computer?
Yes.
Does everyone see the cat? Yes. All right. This is Murphy. Murphy says hi. So for those who can't see right now, I have a picture of Murphy the cat sitting in a basket, and he's going to be a part of our presentation today. So thank you all for your patience. You know, there are always technical difficulties that you can't anticipate, but we'll work through it. So as Yamin was saying, Microsoft has included accessibility in all fabrics of the company, and we're just going to talk about a couple of them today. We could spend a whole day on just Windows, but we're going to try to cover Windows and Office 365. But we could cover a lot more, including Xbox. Microsoft has made the Xbox platform for gaming very accessible with some really cool new hardware as well. So I encourage you all to take a look at the resources section at the end of the outline that's on the UMass accessibility webpage. If you have the print copy of the agenda in front of you, there's actually a QR code that you can scan on an iPhone or Android to get to it. So what has Microsoft done in Windows 10 to make it accessible? Well, what you'll want to do is to find all the accessibility settings in Windows 10. You'll want to navigate to the Ease of Access panel in Settings. So we're going to see if this works. Hey, Cortana, open Settings. Nope. All right, we're going to do this another way.
See, Cortana window.
Open Settings.
Search
Sorry,
box.
I didn't get that.
All right, well, the microphone might. So we're going to do this another way.
Settings. Settings window. Search box.
Can everyone hear
Item
my
describe-
computer?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so under Settings,
System.
you're going to go to the Ease of Access.
Devices. Phone. Network. Personal as apps. Accounts. Time and gaming. Ease of access. Search box. Find a setting. Vision. Display.
So under Ease of Access, you have three kind of different groups of settings. You have vision, hearing, and interaction. This new panel has actually just been redone. So if you're not using the most recent version of Windows 10, version 1803 that just came out in March, you may not see this exactly how it's displayed here. But you will generally see these categories.
Cursor and display.
Under vision, you have settings to adjust the display.
Cursor and pointer size. Magnifier.
You have a magnifying feature which can magnify the screen text on the screen.
Color filters. 4 of 6.
There are different color filters.
High contrast. 5 of 6. Narrator.
And narrator. And if you hear the speech that's going right now, that is narrator. How many of you were around in the Windows XP days and trying to use narrator? Anyone? Anyone? Windows XP narrator days? Narrator has gotten so much better in Windows 10. It's a night and day difference. For anyone who relies on a screen reader, narrator back in Windows XP kind of got the job done, but not nearly as as well as it could be. And I'm really excited that in Windows 10, Microsoft has redone how Narrator works, and it's so much better now. In fact, in this fall, Narrator is revamping their keyboard commands. So they're redoing how Narrator users use the keyboard to make it more aligned with other screen readers like JAWS or NVDA. So it's going to become a lot easier to use for new users and as well as for existing screen reader users who rely on the product every day. Another great thing about Narrator, for those who have to set up computers every day, Narrator makes Windows setup fully accessible. So if you're someone, you buy a brand new computer, you need to set it up for the first time, you can use Narrator and Cortana to set it up. Also, if you have to reinstall Windows, let's say your computer crashes, you have to reinstall the operating system, Windows 10, the full installation and setup process is fully accessible now with Narrator as well. And that has certainly been a huge benefit for me as someone who sets up computers every day in a computer lab environment. So Narrator can be activated by pressing Control Windows Enter. And I'm going to actually just Alt-Tab here to the Narrator settings panel so you can kind of see what it looks like.
Document, inbox, seek, launch, untype, rules, view mask, Narrator settings window to navigate the options in this dialog, including an option for the online user guide. Press the up and down arrow keys. To review the full set of Narrator commands, press Caps Lock plus F1. To start and stop Narrator from the keyboard, press the Windows logo key plus Control plus Enter.
So as I mentioned, Narrator is a screen reader, and it is a product for people who are blind or who have low vision, and it basically speaks text on the screen as you use the keyboard. Or a touchscreen, Narrator works with the touchscreen, and also Narrator works with refreshable Braille devices. I'm holding up one right now. I'm holding up a BOM Vario display. And this is a refreshable Braille display that for someone like me who reads Braille, I can also read out the text on my computer screen as well. So if I tab through, I can just kind of tab through these items on the screen and Narrator will read them back to me.
General, change how Narrator starts and other standard settings. Navigation, change how you interact with your PC using Narrator. Voice, change the speed, pitch, or volume of the current voice or choose a new voice.
So all these settings are pretty self-explanatory, and I can always press the Control key to stop speech.
Commands, create your own keyboard commands button.
And if I were to open up Notepad, so let's go back to my Notepad here.
Inbox, seek, launch, untitled, untyped.
I can just start typing, and Narrator will read out the characters.
Capital T H I S space is S space is A space A T E F T period test space.
So Narrator reads out the keys as I press them as well. And all of these options can be customized. So if you're a more advanced screen reader user, or if you may not want it to repeat every character that you type, but you might want it to repeat every word, you can really customize how Narrator reads the text out on screen. Any questions about Narrator as a screen reader? All right. Well, that's all we're going to talk about for Windows right now. We could talk a lot more about Windows 10. Did you want to add anything about Windows?
No, that's great.
All right. So let's move right into Office 365. Now, one of the areas that we're going to talk about is Office 365 and how it's really important to make sure you're running up-to-date versions of Office. We're running into some compatibility issues up here at the podium to try and get the versions to work. So it's really important that you are running the latest subscriber version of Office and not the volume edition, because the accessibility features that I'm going to show you are only available in the subscriber, the downloadable Office 365 edition. Let's see here. The build that you'll want is, the latest build is 1806. And there's a long build number that we'll include in the outline later on. So let's see here. All right. So the first thing one of the biggest learning features in Office 365 is the immersive reader. And I'm just going to go find something to read here.
Narrate document inbox, mat.mc quad, E, out presentation, Present. From Matt McCubbin. Family photo, message,
All right. So this should,
0% vertically.
okay. So does this message have a lot of text in it? I'm not sure.
I can only see the cat.
You can only see the cat. All right. So let me actually open up a new Word document in here.
Present. Seek, untype, setting, narrator, document 1, document 1.
All right.
This is
Okay. So Immersive Reader is a feature built into Word and Outlook and OneNote. And what Immersive Reader does, what was that? Oh,
What was that last?
OneNote. OneNote. OneNote is a full note-taking and reading application on Windows, Mac, iOS, and it really is great for capturing very small bits and larger bits of information. So, but the Immersive Reader is on all the 3 products, and the desktop versions, and it's I think also on the web versions as well.
It is.
So to activate the Immersive Reader, and this is a very short piece of text, but I'm going to go to the Review tab,
ribbon tabs, selected, review tab item,
and I'm going to go to the speech portion,
grouping, speech, read aloud, button,
and right here,
Alt,
read aloud,
R1,
and I'm going to press.
Control plus space, space. This is a test document for the UMass Accessibility Retreat.
Okay, this is it said it very fast. I'm gonna read it again. Hold
Read
on.
aloud, previous play,
I'm
button,
gonna play it.
space, play, button. Next paragraph settings, next play, previous paragraph, space, play, space, stop, previous space, previous space, play, space, previous space, 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 play, space,
It's not going back for some reason. Hold on.
H, capital T,
Let's
R,
see here.
speech, accessible, blank, speech, space, document, space, 21% vertically scrolled, 24% horizontal, space.
Okay, it's for some reason it's not. Can you click on it for me? Let's see here.
Let's see. You are at the beginning of the sentence.
Yep.
So, and then read aloud.
Tooltip, read aloud, Alt plus Control plus space. Test document for the UMass Accessibility Retreat selected, in capital.
And if you notice, the reason there was there was some double speech going on is not only can you hear the speech, but the cursor also moves across, so you can actually look at the cursor while it's reading to you, and that is great for people who need the text highlighted as well, for visual highlighting, and for students who need the content read in different ways or in multiple ways. Let's see here.
Capital space.
And we probably won't get into it here. The learning tools also can highlight parts of speech. You can also play with the kerning of the text. So you can use different fonts and then move the letters apart from each other to make it easier to read, and have a variety of features. Once a student typically tunes in the learning tools settings for them, it increases the rate they can read significantly.
Yeah, Microsoft has been partnering with many K-12 institutions, for instance, to really research how effective these tools are. And I've seen them expand so much in the past 18 months or so. The next kind of feature that I wanted to talk about is there is an actual ease of access panel in Office where you can make, you can adjust some accessibility features within the Office suite of applications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File,
Info,
and you want to go
option,
to
feedback account, close, export, share, print,
where is
close, account, 10 of 12, feedback, options,
options? There we go.
document
Under
one,
options
All the way at the
here.
bottom, right?
Yep. It's all, I actually think it's in the middle here.
cancel,
So
category,
in this category here, there's ease of access.
feedback options, check provide feedback with sound check.
So this is the first one, provide feedback with sounds. I love this feature so much. Being able to get audio feedback about what you're doing in Office, I encourage everyone to go enable this feature right now. Because what this feature does is while you're composing a document, composing an email, you'll get little earcons, little bits of audio to help you, and it helps you kind of keep on track and also point out where you might need to fix something. So what I'm going to do is these audio sounds are on. and I'm gonna just kind of show you the rest of the features here.
Sound scheme, check provide feedback with animation checkbox. Application display options. Screen tip style. Check show shortcut keys in screen tips checkbox. Uncheck show the start screen when this automatic alt text. Check automatically generate alt text for me checkbox. Alt plus J space. Uncheck space.
So
check.
this last thing, automatically generate alt text. This feature, as mentioned earlier this morning by our keynote speaker, is a feature built into Word which can create alt text for images, for pictures. But as we will see, there is always the human component to it as well. So I'm just going to exit out of here.
Document 1. Word window. Document. Image. End of line.
So what I'm going to just start writing something. I'm going to write. I'm going to make a typo. Let's see here. This.
Capital A, F, space, this, E, S, N.
So I'm going to just write this doesn't.
T, space, doesn't.
And if you notice, Office Windows made a kind of a beep noise a little bit. I'm going to do that again.
T, C, N, E, O, P, E, N, T, space, misspelled, doesn't, misspelled, doesn't.
So it didn't make the same noise because it now thinks I'm actually trying to misspell it. But as you're typing now,
Sure.
yes, I'm trying to misspell it. But what these Office sounds are really good for is while you're typing, Office can gently let you know, hey, there might be a misspelling, or I'm going to auto-correct that. There are different sounds for saving a document. So if I were to save this document, which I won't be doing, but if I were to save it, it would make a sound on that. There's a sound for printing. So there are just little ear cons, as some people like to call them, which basically help you and just to give you a little bit of auditory feedback. And that's such a great feature that I'm glad was brought back from the old Office 97 days.
Blank. This end, space.
Okay,
End
I'm
of
gonna
line.
delete this.
This end of selection deleted.
Any questions about the learning tools or these features?
One question.
Sure.
On the alternate text for images, is it using the same technology as the Seeing AI does?
Yep,
It really is. And interestingly, there are a slew of APIs Microsoft's released. I think there's 37 of them currently that you can utilize as a developer, right? So if you're writing code, they're just REST calls to these APIs, inputs and outputs, and you can write applications with these capabilities built in. So.
Yep, I know there's an app in the App Store called Envision AI. It's for iPhone, which does rely on some of Microsoft APIs, but then they've also done some of their own work as well. So Microsoft is making their own products, but also allowing other developers, education institutions to kind of leverage those same APIs as well and to make some really cool stuff. The next feature that we're going to briefly talk about is the accessibility checker. And what we have here, so I'm just going to show you where it's located. And depending on which version of Office you have, it's going to be in a different spot. So the first area, if you're up to date in Office, it's actually going to also be in the Review tab.
Ribbon tabs. Selected. Review tab item. 8 of 10 alt. Grouping. Ribbon tab. Group. Speech. Accessibility. Check accessibility. Button.
So it's going to be under the Review tab, and accessibility is its own option right near the spell checker. Microsoft did some research and found that once they moved this feature out from where it used to be, they noticed like a 5 times or 10 times uptake in usage, and people started using this accessibility checker feature. This is available in Word and Outlook and PowerPoint as well. And so what we can do is we can run a check on this document. And I'm going to just run the check now.
Errors. Picture 1. Missing alternative text selected.
All right. So, yep, it caught the picture of Murphy the cat does not have an alt text attribute. And that was done intentionally for this demo. There are 3 categories of kind of errors that it will give you. There are errors, warnings, and tips. Errors are the big ones that you want to make sure you catch. Those are no alt text, or your slides might not have titles. You need titles. The next The next one is warnings. So warnings are things like they're maybe not as bad, but just as important. Such as if your hyperlinks aren't clear. And then there are tips. So for instance, things that are still important but aren't as major. Like if you have a watermark in your document, sometimes those make your document not very accessible. Or if your slides aren't in the correct order, or if they don't have unique titles. So those are all things that the accessibility will check. But it's always a good idea to still do a manual check once you finish this. The accessibility checker is great for kind of the easy things for a computer to catch. But as we're gonna see, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna generate an alt text for this picture. So what I'm gonna do here.
Recommended actions, collapse,
Let's see here.
scan, scan, additional error, expanded. Missing alternative text, 1 of 1, picture 1, missing alternative text, 1 of 1,
So
expanded.
what this is gonna do is it's actually gonna give me recommendations on how to fix this. And it's gonna let me fix it right here.
Recommended actions,
So
collapse,
let me open this.
fix, recommended actions, add a description, menu item,
Okay, so I can add a description.
mark as decorative.
I can mark it as a decorative image. So sometimes
Mark this object,
you might find just a line at the end of a document or something that doesn't need an alt text attribute. You can mark it as decorative.
other suggestions, add a description, other suggestions, learn more, suggest a description for me, menu recommended.
So I'm going to
suggestions,
suggest a description for me.
Picture 1, missing alternative text, 1 of 1, collapse, tooltip, read aloud, Alt plus Control plus space, read text out loud and highlight each word as it's read, selected. Recommended actions, collapse,
Did it add it?
menu item,
Did it add the description? Hold
picture
on.
1,
I don't think it
missing
did.
recommended,
Let's see here. My internet connection is being a little.
mark as decorative,
see.
others, learn more, suggest a description for me, picture 1, missing alternative text,
Can you click on it for me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, let's try clicking on it.
recommended action, alert, suggest a descript, picture 1, missing alternative text, 1 of 1, collapse.
Maybe it is the
Selected.
network connection.
Okay.
It does require a network connection. It's going out to that API and
Document,
coming
this
back
is
with some
page
alt
1,
text.
Picture 1, image, in line with text, selected. Fetching image caption,
Let me try it again.
a cat sitting on a table, image text,
Okay, did you hear that? It said a cat sitting on a table. So the computer was able to determine that this picture had a cat in it, and it was sitting on a table, but that's not completely correct. Does someone want to give a better description? Yep. Oh, an orange cat. Oh, I didn't know the cat was orange. All right.
Yeah.
See, you should make some alt text. That was a good one. So what we can do is we can highlight the picture, and we can right click on it,
format, edit alt
and I can
text,
edit alt text.
page 1, picture 1, image, in line with text, document, page 1, picture 1,
And then
image,
I think there's an alt text panel that
There it is.
appeared.
It's up. Yeah,
alt
it's up.
text,
There you go.
description, editing, 0%.
So I can write a cat. Oh, an orange
Capital
cat
X, X, orange, T, cat,
sitting in a basket
space, basket,
next to a doll.
E, F, A, 2, E, A, L, period, doll,
Let's see here.
page 1, document,
So now if I arrow through this document,
page 1, an orange cat sitting in a basket next to a doll, image,
it will read the image back to me. If your picture doesn't have alt text, a screen reader is going to read it in many different ways. Sometimes it'll say picture or image. Sometimes it'll say graphic. Sometimes it'll read the file name and that's it. Oftentimes file names on phones aren't very descriptive. They'll just have a bunch of numbers for the date and that's it. So it's really important that you add alt text to your Word documents, to your Outlook messages. I've seen a lot of email signatures that don't have alt text in them. And so when JAWS or narrator reads them, it'll say email signature 1,246,000. It's something very nonsensical. So certainly use this feature in Outlook and in Word if you can. Let's see here.
blank,
How are we doing on time? All right. One of the other features that I wanted to briefly touch on is dictation. So dictation is an updated feature in Windows 10. It's built on kind of the same new voice speech recognition technologies that are now in Cortana. So it's actually much better than the speech recognition feature in Windows 7. And to activate dictation in Windows 10, we can just press Windows H.
H.
Hello? Hello? Okay, didn't pick it up. Hold on, let's try this again.
H.
All right.
That's good.
This is a test document for the UMass Accessibility Retreat.
Space. Misspelled UMass.
All right. Well, so basically you can press Windows H in Outlook and in Word, and as long as you have an internet connection, you can talk to your computer and it'll read it, and you can have it read, you can use the learning tools to have it read back to you. The new dictation feature does require internet connection. A lot of these features do require some type of cloud-based connection. So this is certainly something you'll want to keep in mind as you use these features. Any questions about Office 365 or Windows 10?
This is Melanie from Knoxville, and you said something about PowerPoint slides. One of the faults, the last fault that you mentioned, I didn't catch that. You said the slides are out of order, or
so if the slides don't have unique titles, you want to try to make sure that your slides have unique titles.
so you need like headings.
Titles. In PowerPoint slides, you'll want to make sure they have unique titles. All this information is on the handout. So please, everyone, take a look at the handout. Two more things. The last thing is Microsoft has 2 additional awesome ways of getting help for their products. So there's the Disability Answer Desk, which is available for most of the day, 7 days a week. And you can call them, you can email them, you can video phone them. If you need any help with a Microsoft accessibility product, or using, if you use JAWS or Narrator or NVDA with Word, you need help with it, you can call them and get your questions answered. The other feature, which is great for the educational system, is they have an enterprise disability answer desk as well. So if you have a question about compliance, let's say you have a question about Word being compliant with Section 508 or other features, you can email the enterprise disability answer desk and you can get some of the more technical questions answered. I had a very interesting question with getting shared activation set up, and the enterprise disability answer desk was very helpful in getting that additional feature set up with accessibility features.
And really quick, just that first accessibility help desk is actually available to all your students as well.
Yes.
Right.
The disability answer desk is available to anyone concerning a Microsoft product, or using an assistive technology product like JAWS or ReadWrite Gold with an existing Microsoft solution. And for those who require additional assistance, the disability answer desk is also available with the Be My Eyes service. Be My Eyes is a free visual interpreter service. So if let's say you are a blind or low vision person and your computer is not talking, what do? You have a class in 15 minutes and you have to present for a session. How do you fix it? Well, you can actually connect directly to the disability answer desk from Microsoft with Be My Eyes and connect with one of their agents, and hopefully they'll be able to get your computer back up and running for the presentation. The last thing is I just want to do a quick demo of, let's see here, I'll pull out my phone. This is going to be I'm not sure if we'll be able to do the demo on the screen. But as there was our keynote speaker talked about Seeing AI. And Seeing AI is a fantastic app for iOS, for iPhone. It is coming to Android, but right now it's only on iOS. And one of the awesome features that it has is the short text capability. Does anyone have a copy of my agenda, actually?
60%. I don't see one handy.
No, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
But there is there's a card of text right here.
All right, well, we'll try this card of text here. I don't know. I don't know what this is. I wonder what this is.
Thank you, I'll give this to you. Anyway, that has a very small font.
All right, we'll try it. So I'm gonna. Let's see here.
Excellent. And actually, interesting story. When I first met Matt, he was using this capability to figure out what conference room we were in.
So I have this paper here, and I'm just gonna hold my phone over it, and we'll see what it says.
In a conference, Lewis Center, 50 Warren Street, Lowell, Massachusetts, 01852, Maine, 978, 934, 920, www.uml.edu/ICC. To the UMass Lowell Linden Conference Center. If you have any questions during your stay, please contact the front desk by dialing 46,920. Wi-Fi is available.
This is good stuff to know.
Yeah, and Matt just told me that this is speaking too slow before the presentation, and I was like, what?
So Seeing AI is a free app from Microsoft. You don't have, it's a free iPhone app. You can go download it in the App Store. It's been downloaded over like 100,000 times. So it has a ton of different features that a lot of our students have really taken a liking to and that have really made a difference in their schooling. So it's called Seeing AI, SEEING space AI. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself or Yamin. Our contact information is on the outline. Thank you very much.
Thanks, folks.
Any questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Art in PowerPoint and charts in Excel translate.